Old Flames is the seventh episode of the second season of Cheers, directed by the brilliant James Burrows, and this one focuses on Sam and Diane and the strength of their relationship. I'll get in with that in a moment, but I want to talk about Norm first. We start off with Norm, always a great way to start an episode of Cheers, and Norm has actually, I should point out, there'll be spoilers not in this discussion, not for things that happen in this episode, but there will be spoilers for previous episodes. So we learn at the very start of this episode that Norm has actually started dating somebody, which is a little bit bizarre, because I just feel like Vera, even though not a present character, is such a staple of Cheers. The way, as I've mentioned before, the way Maris is in Frasier. So it's a bit peculiar hearing Norm talking about dating other people, but it's nice to see Norm having this something else in his life. Having said that, he was in Cheers when he shouldn't have been at multiple points in this episode, so maybe he doesn't have anything that's able to take him away from Cheers yet. But I love Norm, so anything that focuses on Norm always makes me happy. However, the rest of the episode does focus on Sam and Diane, and a former friend of Sam's, Dave Richards, played by Fred Dryer, comes into the bar and he says that Sam and Diane will not be together within 24 hours because he thinks there's no way Sam can do it. There's no way Sam can settle, and indeed settle with Diane. And basically, as soon as he said that, it's triggered tension in their relationship. And I don't want to say too much about what happens, but I will say that Sam was an idiot. And Sam made some bad decisions, even though Sam thinks Sam made some good decisions. And it was kind of fascinating to see or hear him talking about his logic and why he was so happy with what he did. It's not nice to see Sam behaving that way, but it was interesting and it did make things very unpredictable. It's definitely an unpredictable episode. I also love how it queried whether Sam should get rid of his little black book. And I think that that's actually a really interesting thing to raise. If you start dating somebody and you have, now obviously it's the 21st century, I imagine most people don't have a little black book like this anymore. However, if a person does and they start to date somebody, should they get rid of that? I feel like the answer should be no, because you don't know how that relationship is going to finish up. At the same time though, when you start a relationship, particularly, with Sam and Diane, you kind of go into it thinking it'll be forever. And why would you need the book? So I understand both sides of the argument, but I feel like maybe it wouldn't be fair to ask him to completely give it up. Either way, though, this is a really interesting episode. Definitely one that I think was arriving at the right time, because we had quite a few episodes where things were good between Sam and Diane. So it was only a matter of time before something happened. Definitely a great one for Coach as well. One of my favourite bits was when he picked up the telephone. I won't spoil the joke by explaining it in any more detail, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Carla was wonderful in this. Cliff was wonderful. Everybody was wonderful. Definitely a really solid episode. I have no complaints. Nothing about it didn't work, and there's nothing I think should have been done differently. Nothing I think should have been either more heavily focused on or anything. Very good episode. I don't think it's one of my all-time favourites. It's not one, if I were to list my top 10 Cheers episodes, as much of a challenge as that would be, I don't think this one would make the cut. But I'd always be happy to watch it, and if you haven't seen it, I think it's one you'll really enjoy.